Okay, so one of the things that you want to do to begin with, we're working with a prepared compost, and it's already been planted in once. So to begin with, I'm just going to go ahead and do a very light raking. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and smooth out some of the area. If there are high spots, go ahead and take them off a little bit. And if there are low spots, let them get filled up a little bit. Just making a relatively shallow but open area that I can go ahead and plant into. And the other thing, if you've got sticks, stones, that kind of stuff, we'll go ahead and pull those out. So the planting of arugula, because it's fall, the arugula is going to grow pretty well, but it will slow down in its growth because the weather's going to turn cool. So we actually want a little more area than what we might be planting in the springtime, because we know that in order to keep harvesting all the way into the winter, we're going to need more plants just to compensate. Now, with the spin method, one of the things that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to have little walkway areas here so that when we're harvesting, we can go ahead and do our work. This area is obviously too wide to be comfortable with. So in order to be able to show where I'm planting, I'm going to go back and forth across with my rake, get rid of any kind of marks. Take out, part of what we're doing right now is taking a little bit of weed control, doing a little bit of weed control. But once I get down to the end and I've gotten rid of all of those marks from working things up, I'm just going to take the rake, leave myself a footpath over here so I don't have to step on the permanent plantings, and then bring the rake down, make myself a nice area. Come on back. I don't want to go as wide as what I have here, so I'm just going to move the rake over a little bit, go down again. So now what I have is an area that's nicely defined, and I have small ridges in the area so that when the seed hits the ground, it will tend to fall down into the grooves, into the little furrows, instead of sitting up on top. Arugula is a brassica, and it can germinate just fine as long as we keep it moist for about 48 hours. It will go ahead and germinate. It does not have to be covered, but it is nice to let it cover a little bit. And what we'll do here is we'll actually use irrigation, our first watering, to cover the seed. So the more of it that gets down into the little bitty furrows, the better off we are. Okay? Now, the fancy part of this is the seeder. And what I have here is just simply a shaker that I bought at one of the local stores, and it gives me an option of 3 different hole sizes here, and depending on the seed that I'm using, arugula is a pretty small seed. It won't quite fit through the smallest hole size. So what I want to do is I want to go to a hole size that is just slightly over twice the size of the seed in order to make sure that it doesn't plug up. Now, the planting part is pretty simple. We just want to go ahead and sprinkle the arugula seed. And this is a little bit of an estimate, but you can see that if I want to come to the edge, a line like this, shaking, I get a pretty nice distribution of seed, and it goes in line with the area that I'm planting. If I'm trying to fill in, I may come back this direction and put some more in. But I don't want to overseed. Arugula is kind of nice because it's something that you can actually see as it's sitting on the surface. But if you were to get really close here, you would also see that most of the arugula seed is actually either in between the soil particles at this point, or it's down in the little furrows. So all I do is take a little bit, sprinkle it out, and I'm looking for a density that you'll have to practice with a little bit. It will change depending on the kind of soil that you have and how large the leaf is on the crop. With arugula, we want a very, very small leaf, so we try to pack in as many plants as we can.